Welcome, everyone. My name is Kenzie Bach. I'm the administrator of the Boston Housing Authority, and it's my honor to welcome you all to Faneuil Gardens this morning. We are just so thrilled to be together, and especially thrilled to be together on this occasion for a really exciting announcement that's been a long time coming. But it is not mine to announce, so I am going to first of all welcome up here to the podium the person who's really the right person to welcome you all here, who has been just a leader for us every step of the way in this process, in this community. She's just a rock of this community, and we all rely on her. So without further ado, our LTO president here at Faneuil Gardens, Margarita LeBron. And Sonia.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for being here today on this exciting and meaningful occasion, the groundbreaking of the Faneuil Gardens redevelopment project. First, I want to extend our deepest gratitude to the donors and funding partners whose generous support has made this project possible. Your belief in this neighborhood and its people is what's turning vision into reality. I also want to thank our city and state and government officials. Your leadership, advocacy, and commitment to the equitable development have been instrumental in getting us to this point today. This isn't just about new buildings. It's about investing in people, in families, and in the future of our community that has long deserved this kind of attention and care. Faneuil Gardens has always been a place of resilience and pride. Today, as we break ground, we are not just beginning construction. We are building opportunity, stability, and a better quality of life for generations to come. Thank you all for standing here with us. Let's keep building together.
Now I am going to translate it in Spanish for my Spanish-speaking residents. Buenos días a todos. Gracias por compartir hoy esta ocasión tan especial. Y significa la ceremonia de el proyecto de Faneuil Gardens. En primer lugar, queremos expresar nuestro más profundo agradecimiento a los donantes y los sociales financieros generosos hecho posible este proyecto. Su confianza en este visionario y en sus gentes es lo que está convirtiendo esta visión nueva realidad. También queremos agradecer darle las gracias a esos todos y gobernadores municipales, los representantes que han hecho todo posible. Esto no es solamente como le digo, no es un proyecto que solamente vamos a hacer, sino es para unirnos toditos y construir mejor vida, mejor trabajo, mejor amistades, vecinos, juntos toditos. Establecemos la mejor calidad de vida para generosa futuro. Gracias por esto y nosotros seguimos construyendo juntos. Especialmente con community builders, que son los que van a darnos lo que nosotros queremos. Muchas gracias.
Like I said, we have fantastic resident leaders here at Faneuil, and it's really out of their dreams that this whole thing has been conceived and become possible. We also have fantastic leaders at the state level, and as I was just saying, Lieutenant Governor Kim Driscoll is, I think, the greatest champion for housing in this whole state government. She's somebody who we as housing authorities know has our back and who is interested not just in the deeply affordable housing that we continue to provide, but also in the vision of housing authorities and others as folks who can continue to add to our housing supply and make sure that there are more families that are able to be housed in the same way that we were growing and making those opportunities increase when we first built developments like this way back in the late 40s, early 50s. So I'm just so delighted and honored to welcome up Lieutenant Governor Kim Driscoll.
Thank you, Kenzie, and congrats to you and the really hardworking team here at BHA for all the work you're doing to grow the type of housing we want to see across this entire Commonwealth and housing authorities. Good morning, everyone. It is great to be here in Brighton to celebrate what's really been a long-awaited milestone, the start of a new chapter at Faneuil Gardens. This project has been on our list, I think, since day one. I'm pleased to be joined with our Secretary of Housing and Livable Communities, Ed Augustus. We follow each other around a lot, but we heard about Faneuil Gardens early, both from your delegation and from the mayor, about the importance of this project to the city of Boston. I know the mayor's not here yet, but I really want to thank her for her. There you are, right there, right behind me. Great to see you, Mayor, and thanks for your steadfast leadership for affordable housing. It's really making a difference in neighborhoods just like this one. Thank you to Councilor Liz Breeden as well, someone who has been a champion and an advocate for the neighborhood. Representative Honan, always great to see you. A real housing champion in the State House for many, many years. That's helping fuel legislative policies and funding. And certainly Representative Moran, also the first one to talk to us about Faneuil Gardens, who fights every day for housing investments in this neighborhood that strengthens communities. I often think of you as this like empathetic centurion of the district. I mean that in a positive way. Good, because you care, and it shows. You lean in on projects that really matter in the lives of the people who live here, and I think that's the biggest compliment you can give anyone whose trust you have, who's representing you in government. And this project is just like amazing to be able to take older housing stock and redevelop it in a way that's going to help those who live here now and also create a new opportunity for generations of new Bostonians. So a big thank you to Kenzie and the team at the Housing Authority, to the community builders, TBC, who make these dreams happen in lots of places, but most of all, especially to the residents of Faneuil Gardens. Your patience, your input, your commitment to community, and all of that is what's making this moment possible today. Today's groundbreaking isn't just about new construction, although that's pretty cool. It's also about renewal and about respect. You know, Massachusetts has the most publicly owned housing, state-owned housing of any state in the country. Lots of units built in the 40s, the 50s, the 60s that were designed to ensure affordability. And it's actually, I think, quite an asset and a tool of ours. I served on the Housing Authority in my hometown of Salem, but for too long, public housing hasn't been given the dollars it needs to be modernized, to be updated. It provides a foundation for families, for older adults, for our most vulnerable members and workers who live in our communities, but we always haven't been able to invest in it the way we frankly needed to. And our administration's thankful, with the help of the legislature, been able to make major investments in public housing, and particularly with our Secretary's leadership, who is visiting every single public housing authority in the Commonwealth. We really see projects like this and the opportunity to put fuel behind the existing buildings we have as a turning point. It's bringing long overdue modernization to many of our buildings. It's creating new mixed income units along with the units that are here. And it's improving the living conditions that reflect really the dignity and respect that every resident deserves who's living in public housing. That means, as a Commonwealth, we're investing $20 million in this first phase right here in what I like to refer to as a twofer. We're preserving existing affordable units, affordable homes, while creating new ones at the same time. That's pretty cool when you're in a state that has a major housing crisis. And it's part of our yeah, we can clap for that, right? Just want to say it's part of our administration's larger commitment to tackling the housing crisis from every angle, from affordable home ownership and mixed income housing, revitalizing lots of neighborhoods, and looking at our state's aging public housing stock like this project here today. There is so much to do in this space if we really care about the people who live in our communities and who serve us every day. We need to build more housing. We need to build more affordable housing, in particular, reasonably priced housing that the individuals who do the important work that carry our communities can afford to live in and stay in our neighborhoods. The governor and I firmly believe that public housing is not a relic of the past. It's an essential part of our housing future. And so looking ahead, you know, we know this work isn't going to happen overnight. It's going to be a phased project. This phased approach recognizes the scale and the cost of this effort. But starting today, we're really turning those plans into progress. And each phase is going to bring us closer to a stronger, more connected community, a place that keeps longtime residents in their homes and enables and welcomes new families to grow and thrive here. So I just want to say congratulations to everyone who's made this day possible. Faneuil Gardens has always been a place where people look out for one another, and this project will help honor and continue that legacy. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Lieutenant Governor. Next up, I want to invite our housing secretary for the state, Ed Augustus. The secretary is engaged in a very impressive and very vigorous effort to visit all the housing authorities of the state. But I have a personal goal of having him at the same time visit all of the sites of the Boston Housing Authority, because we do claim him as a Bostonian, and he's well on his way. So I just want to say sincerely that the man you're about to hear from is both the first housing secretary for the Commonwealth ever, but also I think just represents, like, we have never had at the Boston Housing Authority for our state public housing residents a leader of that endeavor who so many residents have gotten to personally meet and who has been in their homes and who has, like, expressed just care about these places that the state funds. And so it's made a difference. So many of our residents have commented on it to me, and it's just, like, in that tradition, having you here again making this big announcement, Mr. Secretary, is just really exciting. So thank you. Ed Augustus.
Thank you, Kenzie, for that generous introduction, and right back at you. Kenzie's a joy to work with. I don't think there's a smarter, more thoughtful, more caring person working in the housing space anywhere in the Commonwealth than Kenzie, so thank you for your partnership. It's great to be here with one of my bosses, the Lieutenant Governor, who was mentioned earlier, is a huge champion of all things housing, and has really given me and the folks at HLC the charge to do more and do it faster. And we feel that every day, and we are trying to bring a sense of urgency to this issue that the problem demands, because that urgency is bearing down on real people, people who feel housing insecure, people who are worried that the next paycheck, if it's not there, they may be out of a home. So that sense of urgency is something that permeates our whole team. So it's great to be here with the Lieutenant Governor and Mayor Wu, Leader Moran, both of whom came in to see the administration and identified this project as a top priority of theirs. And that certainly was important in moving this project forward. And it's great to see Kevin Honan, all of our friend, who really has been leading issues around housing for many decades here in Massachusetts and in the legislature, so thank you. I would like to introduce a couple of my team members who are here, the folks who really do the work. We get up and kind of talk about it, but these are the folks that do the work. And Fatima and Matt, just say hello from our HLC team. We've done a lot of great work on this. Thank you. So as the Lieutenant Governor mentioned, Massachusetts has 43,000 units of state-owned public housing, by far the most in the nation. 70,000 people live in those units across Massachusetts. Think about where all of those people, many of whom live on extremely low incomes, would be in this challenging housing market if those units were not there. This is a critical safety net for folks across the Commonwealth. But for decades, the state's public housing developments have been chronically underfunded. Faneuil Gardens was first built 70 years ago for many returning World War II veterans. Unfortunately, it has not received a significant capital investment since then, but that changes today. The Healey-Driscoll Administration is committed to not only providing affordable housing to residents who need it, but also to ensure that our public housing is well maintained and dignified. The Affordable Homes Act, signed into law last year by Governor Healey, authorizes the biggest investment in the history of the state of Massachusetts in our state-owned public housing. That includes $2 billion for capital improvements, and a lot of credit to our legislative partners who actually increased the amount of money that we requested for public housing. That's how important it is. The Faneuil Gardens redevelopment, however, is even bigger. This project has been awarded funds from HLC's Public Housing Innovation Demonstration Program because this redevelopment is more than just a rehab. Not only will this project replace 258 aging units with new apartments for our current residents, but the redevelopment will add 187 brand new affordable units for the community. That's worth clapping for. It will also add common public and commercial space for the neighborhood and will transform and revitalize this slice of Brighton for current residents and new neighbors alike. The administration was proud to contribute $19.6 million to make this project a reality. And again, I want to thank the mayor and Leader Moran and Kenzie and the whole team for really championing this project. Thank you to all of the partners, community builders. I feel like I run into you all over the state because you're doing great projects in every corner of the Commonwealth, and this is just another example of that. Congratulations to everyone, especially to the residents.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. I get asked a lot these days about the federal environment, which we all know is challenging in many respects. And one of the things that I keep coming back to is just how lucky we are in this moment when you work at a housing authority and on behalf of low-income folks to have just a state government that is championing housing and a city government that is championing housing. And it really does, you know, in a challenging environment in other ways, really change the game for us. And just like we have our champions at the state level, we couldn't have a stronger housing mayor than Mayor Michelle Wu. She has put the lion's share of the city's American Rescue Plan funds into housing. She challenges us every day, all of us who work for her, to think through how we just continue to throw the kitchen sink at this problem. She's somebody who thinks at the human level about what affordability really means for Bostonians and how to achieve it. We're just so lucky to call her our mayor, and she has championed this project, as many have said. So, Mayor Michelle Wu.
Thank you so much, Kenzie. Thank you for all that you do, and good morning to everyone. Thank you first and foremost to our hosts here today, to Margarita and all of the tenants and residents, who also, by the way, was the fantastic Chief Marshal of the Allston Brighton Parade recently. Thank you, Margarita, for all your leadership in many ways. And thank you to Kenzie and everyone at the BHA, to Sheila Dillon and Dan and all of our Office of Housing team members as well. Thank you for all that you do for the city of Boston. I think I'm the only one here in my winter coat. Is everyone else not cold? I am freezing cold today. Morning, okay. Margarita and me. Thank you so much to all of my fellow elected officials who look extremely sharp in their non-winter clothing, by the way. They're cold. Our state partners at the Healey-Driscoll Administration, very grateful for this governor, for our lieutenant governor and secretary, and to all of our state partners here. Thank you to our city councilors, your district councilor, Liz Braden, who's been a champion for this development, for this community in so many ways. City Councilor Henry Santana here as well. I know the three of us have been here in this very spot all throughout the summer with our community members, seeing the joy and the excitement of what it means to be a member of this community. And thank you to our state legislators as well, Rep. Honan, for all that you do and all that you have done on housing, and to our majority leader, who I agree is a gladiator for his district, and someone who I am so blessed and grateful to have in our corner in the city of Boston every day. Thank you. And I also want to recognize the many neighborhood leaders who are here, who represent all the various community organizations and partners and neighborhood associations. So thank you to Tony, to everyone who steps up and makes sure that we can connect across the entire neighborhood. We're very grateful to be working with Andy and Stephanie and all of the Community Builders team to make sure that we're adding yet another opportunity to invest, refresh, and reimagine what's possible for our communities through what starts as a housing project, but as Margarita was saying, ends up being about connection and friendship and neighbors being able to live their whole lives in a way that is more supported and better off. Faneuil Gardens, of course, has been a cornerstone of Brighton for generations, and a place where seniors and kids and every generation in between can grow up together. For too long, though, this community has been one that has been thriving not because of the facilities, but despite them. And we see what's possible when just a patch of pavement turns into a beautiful space for the community resource fairs or Unity Days. We see what's possible when, Margarita, if you go and visit her office, there's stuff everywhere tucked into the basement between all the mechanicals and all the spaces that they have carved out for young people to be able to have after-school programming and to find ways where there's always a trusted adult ready for mentorship or for supports. None of these units here are accessible. The buildings are behind in the standards that the community deserves in comfort, in safety, in sustainability. And yet, this has been the place where we see community thriving. And so imagine what is going to be possible when we have this beautiful, beautiful new setup with renewed facilities, but also the spaces and community for everyone to come together. So as we redevelop Faneuil Gardens, I know on our part, at the city level, the state level, with TCB, but certainly with the residents and the tenants, this will not be a project that is happening to people. It is going to happen with and following the leadership and the instructions of our residents first and foremost. We are proud in the city to be thinking about housing in this way all across Boston. Under our administration over the past 4 years, we have created more affordable housing, more affordable homes than in any comparable period in Boston. We've helped more than 1,000 residents become first-time home buyers, helped another 1,000 families ensure that they will stay permanently rooted in their communities by acquiring those homes and making them permanently affordable. And we've invested more than $100 million into a housing accelerator fund, a revolving loan fund that will get shovels in the ground and aggressively convert, as well as aggressively converting unused office space into new homes. And this summer, we finalized our anti-displacement action plan, investing in projects just like this one. It is important that families all throughout the city who have lived here for decades will continue to grow in the community and don't have to worry about being priced out. So with this partnership from the state, as you heard, all 258 existing homes will be replaced with new, beautiful, affordable homes for residents. And then there will be another 180 new homes ready to welcome families across all income levels. This will include fully accessible units, opportunities for seniors to age in place, and for Faneuil Gardens to become a truly intergenerational community. We also hold ourselves to a very high environmental standard, and all the units will be developed with passive house standards, new accessible courtyards that are climate resilient, without flooding, and natural cooling features, state-of-the-art stormwater management, and homes and units that are sized for families, multiple bedrooms per unit. Residents will also get to enjoy a large community center and ground floor community-wide amenities in addition to the commercial spaces, as you heard. So thank you to all of our partners here. We are showing that public housing is not an afterthought. In Boston, it is the first thought, because we know that our public housing developments should set the bar for housing across the city and the Commonwealth. And this is also not the only investment that's happening even in this immediate area. Right across the street at 290 North Beacon, the Boston Housing Authority and our state partners and city partners and our artist community are working together to map out plans for 40,000 square feet of creative space along with more affordable housing. At a time when it's difficult to find hope and inspiration in government in a lot of other places, I am so lucky and so grateful to live in Boston and to work alongside these amazing partners. This is what teamwork looks like, and this is what it means to get things done on behalf of the people of Boston and the community members that we all serve. Congratulations to everyone.
Thank you so much, Mayor. And I just want to dwell for 1 second on the point about accessibility. I think it's very hard for us right now to have situations where there are people at this development who have lived at this development for a long time who are now needing accessible features, and the only ways for them to get that, to live in dignity, is to leave the site that they've called home. I think that is something that, as a housing authority, it really frustrates us. And so the idea of being able to really anchor people in place here and have those features is just, it's a huge desire of ours. He's been called a gladiator. He's been called a centurion. My more pedestrian analogy, I was going to say, if you're picking a dodgeball team, maybe the first person who you want to put on it is leader Michael Moran. And seriously, he has absolutely been the captain of our dodgeball team here. And seriously, I think that all those references to fighting, I think they get at a really core truth, which is that everything is going to happen someday. And we know that a lot of people spend a lot of time waiting for someday to come. And the way that you go from that sort of infinite waiting to days actually arriving is by people being willing to fight for them and really push for them and say, it's been long enough. Leader Moran has that spirit in spades. So I want to introduce him up to the floor. Leader Michael Moran.
I got to, when I come to these things, I got to look at the agenda more because it's really hard to follow Michelle. It's just, it's a lot easier when we had previous mayors, you know what I'm saying? So, no offense to them, but, I just want to, I'm not going to get into the whole thing, probably because I might get emotional. But anyways, I just want to I got to thank a few people. Ed, you were awesome. And Kenzie, you guys really, when you go in and you meet with people and you say to yourself, this is an important thing, this is an important thing. You know that there are another person that went in before, and there's going to be another person that goes in after, asking for the same thing. And you guys have to sit there, and you guys have to listen to us advocate, and you got to try and see what the best one is in priority. Now, we may be able to lean a little bit from time and again to get that done, but it's a hard job you two have and your staff. So I just want to thank both of you for giving me guidance, quite frankly, and giving me advice, but also for being the people behind the scenes that really drove this, and your staff. So thank you all very much. The mayor often says that, she wants to, and I borrowed this phrase twice now, so she wants to build a city for everybody. Well, we're going to try and build a Commonwealth for everybody, too. So I'm borrowing that phrase. I'm sorry about that. But I will footnote you every time I do it. And it's important that you have, and another thing I find myself saying a lot is thank God we live in Massachusetts. It's just, I don't know what something like this would look in another state, but I know what it looks like here, and it's normal here. And thank God it's normal here. So we're really blessed to live in a city, in a state where these things are priority, and we don't push away from them depending upon who's in the White House. So these are important projects. They're important not just for the people, but they're important for this community to have this type of housing in our housing portfolio. So it's really, really awesome that we live in a state that values these types of things. And furthermore, you can't do anything about this without a bigger team. No one does this alone, starting with the governor and lieutenant governor on down to my colleague Kevin and Will Brownsberger, to my colleague Liz on the council, and to the mayor. Nothing happens without, no one person does anything. It takes a team, and it takes a team sometimes that is not looking for pats on the back, but looking for results. And that's what this team has done on this project. So I'm not going to belabor it too much. This is not the end. This is the start. It took a long time to get to the start line, but we're at the start, and that's awesome. And I'm not going to speak to what this means, because everyone here who's sitting in those chairs knows exactly what it means. So I'm just happy to be a part of it, and I'm happy that we're at the start line. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Leader. The mayor mentioned it, some other folks have mentioned it, but in the audience today we have quite a lot of community members who have been with us every step of the way on the master planning, who have been cheerleaders for this project. I was saying to the lieutenant governor, there's a lot of places where when you try to do housing development, you worry about the neighbors being against it. And here the neighborhood has been our number one cheerleader for this project, and that has just, it's made such a difference, and it makes you feel like you're in a real community in this very deep way. And one of the people who I feel like as an elected official embodies that whole community spirit is Liz Braden, our city councilor here, because whenever there's anything happening here at Faneuil Gardens, there is usually less than an hour between when I hear about it from a resident, somebody at the site, and when I hear about it from Councilor Braden. And what that tells me, and it means so much to me as a former city councilor, is that Liz treats this just like any other neighborhood, and these are her constituents, and she has her ears to the ground. And public housing has not always been treated that way by its local elected officials, and it's just amazing, and it means that she is always fighting for the residents every day. So it's fantastic to have her join us and come up here. Liz Braden, City Councilor.
Good morning, everyone. So pleased to be here. This is so exciting. Thank you, Kenzie, for your kind words. And thank you to the partnership we have with my fellow elected officials here. And thank you, Lieutenant Governor, for joining us, Mayor Wu. And especially thank you to the incredible community here at Faneuil Gardens. You are wonderful partners in this work, and it's always a joy to be here and join you for your events and your but I also want to give a shout out to the community builders. We joined the community builders many times in the community centre and sat around the table and listened to all the presentations, and I was really impressed with how they engaged with how the community builders engaged with you folks, the residents, the folks that have such a stake in this project. So thank you so much, community builders, for engaging and being so involved with envisioning what this is going to look like for our friends here at Faneuil Gardens. And it's going to be amazing. But it is a phased thing, so we'll just take one thing at a time. And I look forward to continuing to work with you all in this process. It's truly a very, very exciting development. And I also want to give a shout out for the folks like Annie Mazzola back there. Annie works for Councillor, no, not Councillor anymore, Senator Brownsberger. And she was on my staff, and Annie knows this, very familiar with this community, and there's generations of folks who've lived here, who've gone out to live other places and serve the community in Massachusetts and further afield. Incredible contribution of the former residents and current residents of Faneuil Gardens to the life of the city and to the life of Massachusetts. So thank you all, and it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
And also representing this area on the council, as he represents the whole city and a son of public housing himself, Councillor Henry Santana, I want to invite up as well to say a few words.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much, Administrator Bach. Thank you to all the elected officials. I'm going to be extremely brief, right? I'm Henry Santana. I'm one of the at-large city councilors, but I'm also a proud product of our public housing here in the city of Boston. I grew up in Alice Taylor BHA apartments, and Margarita knows that, I've prioritized our Boston public housing residents because, as Kenzie mentioned earlier, public housing residents don't always hear and see our elected officials, and as one of the councilors who has that lived experience, I've made it a priority to show up in our public housing residents for our public housing residents. So I just love the investments that we're making, and this is just huge, right? To our residents, to our youth who are who live here, to our families, to our seniors who deserve to age in place. So this is just incredible. I love, the Lieutenant Governor, and the Healey Administration, the investments you're all making. This is what it's all about. Our public housing residents deserve high quality housing, and this project does that. So I'm just so honored to also see our mayor and seeing that, you're doing this around the city and all across of our public housing residents. So we're going to continue to do that because, again, our public housing residents deserve everything and more. Thank you.
All right, and Councilor Braden mentioned her, but I actually want to invite Annie Mazzola up to speak on behalf of Senator Will Brownsberger, who's our state senator. He wasn't able to be here today, but he's been super supportive of this project. And I will just say a fun fact is that Annie, as the councilor alluded to, grew up here, and I actually have a poem by Annie about Faneuil Gardens on my wall in my office. So, Annie.
Thank you. Thank you to everyone. It's unbelievable to be standing here today. It's a lot of it surreal. So again, my name is Annie Mazzola, and I'm speaking today on behalf of Senator Brownsberger and myself. I can't even begin to describe the honor it is to be here in this room, when I thought it was a room, out in the courtyard with all of you, and just to have the opportunity to speak about the importance of this project today. Faneuil Gardens is such a special place, and I might get wicked emotional, leader. I hope I don't, because it's not pretty. It's such an incredible place. And for the first 18 years of my life, Faneuil Gardens was my home. I have a lot of memories here. So from 1968, so you can do the math if you like, to 1986, I watched the application of many, many Band-Aids being placed here and there on our old kitchens, in the bathrooms, on the radiators, the overly painted walls, so many coats of paint, the benches in the courtyard. Let's see. And the Band-Aids were not the name brand Band-Aids. They were definitely the cheap generic ones that were small, little small circles that never really covered enough and left a sticky mess when they inevitably fell off. And they're still here today. So how wonderful it is to be here to witness this moment right now. It's really incredible. And before, I'm not going to take long, but before I say final words, I just have to shout out the residents in this space, particularly Margarita LeBron and Sonia Owens, and also want to say the name Emma Galetta out loud because she's an incredible youth organizer here, and she really wanted to be here, but she's with her grandmother, but she's here in spirit for sure because she's really incredibly dynamic young woman. So Senator Brownsberger and I know that this award, that will be phase one, not only moves forward years of hard work by so many, and so many here in this room, it does not just make lasting change and improvements to our community. It says to the beautiful souls here at Faneuil Gardens, you deserve better. This award says to our entire community, I see you, I hear you, I care about you, and I'm here for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Annie, so much. This is a real team partnership with all the people you've heard from and about. I want to shout out a few of the folks on my side. So Joe Bamberg and his team in the back. Joe, if you can wave. Have been working together with our partners on this master plan for, again, a really long time. I see Rahul on his team. We've also got, our team that manages this site. So Daniel, our partner at WIN, where's Daniel, our manager, yes, is also a community member here and just a rock for our residents. And Raul Leon, our director of asset management. And so many folks. We've got communications here. I've got, this is the danger of starting to name your staff, but there are many really fantastic individuals at the VHA who are making this happen. But the team that we are working with to make that happen is the community builders. And you've heard their name already a number of times because they've really put in the work over now many years to get us to this place with the master plan. And we're just so lucky to have them as partners here at the site. And so I want to introduce Andy Waxman.
Thank you, Kenzie. Great to speak last on the program after lots of great speakers. But I am honored to be here today to celebrate this milestone with everyone. As Kenzie said, I'm Andy Waxman, and I'm the leader of the Community Builders Real Estate Development Group for New England. At TCB, our mission is to build and sustain strong communities where all people can thrive, and we are proud to be advancing that today. We at TCB were fortunate that 3 years ago, we were chosen by the Boston Housing Authority and the Tenant Task Force here at Faneuil Gardens to lead the redevelopment of this great community. At TCB, we've been involved in public housing redevelopments throughout the country, from Detroit to Chicago to Hartford, and here in Massachusetts and Holyoke, and 2 others in the city of Boston. We took it as a positive sign that the Boston Housing Authority picked us for the 3rd time, the 3rd partnership here at Faneuil Gardens. And thank you very much again to Kenzie Bach and her team for partnering with us to move this development forward. There were a number of goals when we were selected. The main ones, as many have said here today, was to develop a plan to replace all the existing units, but also to add to the number of income-restricted apartments on the site. Yet at TCB, our goals always go beyond simply bricks and mortar. Our philosophy is to put residents at the center of all of our work. In that vein, upon our selection, we spent over a year building a close working relationship with the residents, learning what they loved about their community, their home, and also learning their priorities for what they wanted to have improved. Some of what we've learned, as people have said many times today, is that there is a strong, close-knit community here. We also learned that there are many important gathering spaces, like where we are right now, that people wanted to recreate, and we learned also about assets like McKinney Park, where residents wanted to create a stronger physical connection with it. We developed a few options for a new master plan and worked with residents to refine the one that people like best. As many folks have said already today, in addition to creating 5 new buildings and replacing 258 apartments, the plan includes 187 additional apartments to increase the amount of affordable housing in the neighborhood. But more than just replacing and adding more apartments, the master plan includes a new boulevard that'll basically come right through here that will recreate the outdoor gathering spaces that people love about the current community and also connects Faneuil Gardens better to the rest of the neighborhood. After developing this plan with the residents and the BHA, we were able to move to the city's Article 80 process, and now we have full approval for both the master plan and the specific design for Phase 1. And with that, we were fortunate to be awarded funding from the Mayor's Office of Housing for Phase 1. So thank you, Mayor Wu. Thank you, Dan, and all the people at the Mayor's Office of Housing for that. And now today, as folks have mentioned, we have funding from the Executive Housing of Livable Communities and the state of Massachusetts. Thank you very much to the Lieutenant Governor and the Secretary Augustus for believing in us and providing the funding for this project. Just last week, we were with the Secretary in Worcester at a ribbon cuttings for 2 developments that TCB is just completing there. And last year, we were with the Lieutenant Governor in Provincetown at a groundbreaking for development there. And we thank you, Lieutenant Governor and Secretary, so much for all the great work that you do in housing issues throughout the state. And we're proud to be partners with you for meeting the state's ambitious housing goals. I also want to thank Leader Moran, who's been mentioned a number of times. I won't come up with any new nicknames. But we thank you very much for your strong, consistent support for the project. Leader Moran has a much longer history at Faneuil Gardens than we do at TCB, and he attended a number of our master planning meetings for the project, and we very much appreciate his input and all that he's done for both the residents of Faneuil Gardens and for this redevelopment effort. I also want to thank Councilor Braden, who has been a strong supporter of this development and has frequently as she mentioned, frequently participated in many planning events with us. Other folks have thanked others as well, but Senator Brownsberger, Representative Moran, Councilor Santana. Also want to thank the Alston Brighton CDC. Joanne Barber has been mentioned from Charlesview, and Daniel has already been mentioned from property management, but thank you very much to him as well. A couple of other folks I want to thank. We have pre-development lenders. We have funding from LISC, Boston Children's Hospital, and New Hope Community Capital, and we would not have been able to make it this far without them. Our design team, MVR, DV, and JGE, thank you very much. Your designs are incredible, and we're very appreciative to have you partner with us on this. I would also be remiss if I didn't thank TCB staff who have worked with us on this project. In particular, a huge shout out to our project management team, David Valasius and Catherine Kettner. They passionately and tirelessly worked to build relationships with the residents and to bring the project where it is today. And last but certainly not least, the tenant task force, specifically Margarita and Sonia, George and Mary. You've been wonderful partners, welcoming us into your homes, guiding the redevelopment process, and being the most important advocates for its success. Thank you again, everyone here today, and we look forward to you when we start construction on Phase 1.
Okay, before we wrap up, I want to make 2 acknowledgments. One is just, we've got former Representative Jeff Sanchez here, who, you're not misremembering, this was never his district, but But he's been a strong advocate. He's a big supporter of the community builders and of us at the BHA. He's been a strong advocate for this project, so I wanted to acknowledge him. And then just as a former elected official myself, he's not on the program, but I did just want to ask Rep. Honan if you wanted to say a few words.
Thank you very much, Kenzie. It's a pleasure to be here. I want to thank Lieutenant Governor, the Mayor of Boston. When I chaired housing, the Mayor of Salem was our Lieutenant Governor. She's just a forceful advocate, as is Mayor Wu right now. Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Thank you, Councilor Breeden. And Mike Moran, it's a pleasure to be here. Mike has been the champion of this. I know they're calling you a gladiator. They keep showing that movie with Russell Crowe, and it didn't. I hope it ends better for you, Mike, than it did for Russell Crowe. Anyway, Marguerite, Sonia. I was Sonia's counselor when she was 14 years old. So I'm so proud of you, Sonia. Thank you for. Oh, you're very kind. So in Massachusetts, we obviously have a housing crisis, and we need more funding for affordable housing. We need more zoning reform, but we also need community support. And that's what we have today. The neighborhood has been so supportive of these additional units, so we thank you for helping out on allowing the project to move forward. It makes it easier for the mayor, it makes it easy for the councilor and everybody else. But Mike, I'm really honored to be here. This is Mike's district. I represent a little bit over there. And I thank you for all you've done, Mike, in the area of housing and so many other issues in Allston, Brighton, like transportation, healthcare, and so many other issues. Thank you for having me. And Kenzie, keep up the good work.
Thank you, Representative. So this concludes our program, but we are going to invite the speakers and community leaders, and this is really a very open invitation to come up and join us between these flags and take a photo just commemorating this moment, because as has been said by a number of speakers, this is going to be a whole process. There are many phases. This funding award lets us get going on phase one, but it's incredibly important to us to be here at the starting line, and we know that from here we're going to roll forward the whole way through. So thank you all so much.